When you were young, before the world told you who to be, you had a spark. Do you remember it? That uninhibited creativity, the joy of making things just because you could. It wasn't about being seen, praised, or validated. It was pure. It was yours. Maybe you wrote stories, played an instrument, painted, or built things just for fun. You didn't need permission. You didn't need approval. You were simply expressing what was inside of you. But somewhere along the way, something changed. You began to notice others, people who seemed more confident, more accepted, more successful. Maybe you saw others putting out content that wasn't even that great, yet they seemed sure of themselves. Meanwhile, you hesitated. You held back. You wondered if you were good enough. And so, piece by piece, you began to silence yourself. Comparison is a thief. It sneaks in quietly, stealing joy, killing inspiration, and leaving you empty. Maybe you started looking at others who had already made it, who had big followings, who seemed to effortlessly create while you sat paralyzed. The thought crept in, I can't compete with that. So, instead of creating, you started consuming. Instead of expressing, you started watching. Every time you saw someone else doing what you longed to do, your energy drained a little more. You felt the pull to create, but the weight of comparison held you down. And so you waited. You waited for the right time, for more confidence, for some external sign telling you to go ahead. But that sign never came. Maybe you grew up without much encouragement. Maybe no one ever looked at you and said, you are gifted. You have something special. You can do this. Maybe you longed for that validation. Just a single voice saying, go for it. I believe in you. But what if that voice never comes? What if no one gives you permission? You see, waiting for validation is a trap. If you rely on others to tell you that you're good enough, you will always be at their mercy. Your creativity will be chained to their approval. And if they don't see your vision, if they don't understand, then what? Do you let your gifts die inside you? The world loves templates. It loves boxes and categories. It wants you to follow the mold of the ones who came before you. Look at the successful ones, they say. Do it like them. But you are not them. You were never meant to be them. If you force yourself into a mold that doesn't fit, a part of you will always be compromised. You might find temporary success by conforming, but deep down, you'll feel lost. Because true creativity doesn't come from copying others. It comes from within. Lord Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, "It is better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of somebody else's life with perfection." You must live your life, not someone else's. And that means stepping away from the molds and expectations that have been placed on you. Maybe you took a corporate job because it seemed like the responsible thing to do. Maybe you compromised your vision because you were afraid of failing. You told yourself, at least this is secure. At least this is safe. But is it really? Every day that you spend denying your true calling, you are dying a little inside. You feel it, don't you? The exhaustion, the emptiness, the sense that something is missing. You were meant for more than this. Your gifts were not meant to be enslaved for someone else's vision. And the longer you ignore them, the dimmer they become. Fear tells you that there's not enough room for you, that everything worth creating has already been created, that other people are better, smarter, more talented. But that is a lie. The universe is infinite. Creation is infinite. Your gifts are not in competition with anyone else's. There is space for you. There is a need for what you uniquely have to offer. Remember, you are the light of the world. But how can you be a light if you are constantly hiding in the shadows of others? You have spent so much time looking outward, at what others are doing, at what others approve of, at what others say is possible. But have you ever turned your gaze inward? God is not outside of you. God is within you. The Tao Te Ching says, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. You must know yourself. You must see the divine spark inside of you. That is where your inspiration comes from. Not from trends, not from external validation, but from the infinite source within you. Every spiritual path ultimately leads to the same truth. You are more than your fears, more than your doubts, more than the limitations that have been placed on you. Enlightenment comes not from seeking outside of yourself, but from waking up to your true nature. Use your life experience and emotions, everything you've been through, everything you've felt, to channel that energy into something creative. Your pain, your joy, your struggles, your triumphs, these are not just random events. They are raw material for something greater. Every experience you've had holds a lesson, a story, a truth that only you can express in the way that only you can. Creation is not just about making something for the world. It is a path to healing. When you pour your soul into your work, whether it's writing, music, art, speaking, or any other form of expression, you are transmuting that energy into something powerful. Instead of letting your emotions fester, you give them a place to go, a form, a purpose. And it's not just healing for you, it's healing for the world around you. Your creation, your voice, your unique expression might be the exact thing that someone else needs to hear or see in order to heal themselves. When you create from a place of truth, you don't just put something out into the world. You create ripples that touch people in ways you may never even know. So don't hold back. Don't silence yourself. Everything you have lived through has prepared you for this moment. The world needs what only you can bring. Do you see it? The message has always been the same. Stop looking outside. Stop waiting for permission. The answers have been inside of you all along. The moment you stop seeking validation from the world is the moment you are free. You do not need permission to create. You do not need approval to express your gifts. The inspiration you have been waiting for is already within you. Yes, the path will be uncertain. Yes, there will be fear. But you must trust in the process. The more you step into your calling, the clearer it will become. A Course in Miracles says, when you have learned how to decide with God, all decisions become as easy and as right as breathing. That means letting go of fear, of comparison, of the need to fit into the world's molds. It means trusting in what has been placed inside of you. What you have to create and bring into this world is something entirely new. It has never been seen before, never been expressed in the way that only you can express it. Your gifts, your voice, your vision, these things have never existed before in the history of the world. No one has ever been exactly you. And if you keep copying others, if you keep squeezing yourself into the small molds that were built before you, that creativity dies. The world keeps recycling the same old nonsense, the same tired ideas, singing the same old songs, the same patterns of thought that keep humanity stuck in place. But the world doesn't need more of the same. The world needs you. You were taught to always look up to other people, to seek permission, to ask for validation, to wait until someone else told you that you were ready. You were never taught to trust yourself. You were never taught to rely on the wisdom that was already inside you. Instead, you were told that the outside world had all the answers, that the experts, the institutions, the systems, the great minds of the past held all the knowledge, and your job was to learn it, memorize it, and follow in their footsteps. But they are all lies. The truth is the opposite. The wisdom is in you. The world doesn't need you to be a student forever, always absorbing, always imitating. The world needs what you have to teach it. The world is starving for originality, for truth, for something real, and that can only come through you. The God within you is the creator of all that is holy. And this world, it needs a dose of God, but not through someone else, through you. So stop looking outward. Stop waiting for approval. Stop measuring yourself against what has already been done. What you have to create is bigger than anything the world has seen before. It is divine. It is yours. And it's time to let it out. So now the choice is yours. Will you continue to dim your light? Will you keep looking outside for answers that can only be found within? Will you keep waiting for permission that will never come? Or will you step forward? Will you own your gifts? Will you finally believe that you are enough? Not because the world says so, but because you always have been. No more waiting, no more hiding. It is time. The world does not need another imitation. The world needs you.